All right, Shalom Akim. Before I begin, I want to start off by giving infinite praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ruach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders. I agree most of them, may they teach them well. And peace and blessings be unto you, fellow Alchemy brothers, that also push out this word in truth, faith, and sincerity. All right, now around to this lesson be edifying. I'm just bringing out some certain scriptures on the topic of not sure if it has an actual name yet, but of course, but I'm just thinking about this inspiration, the inspiration for this lesson being the fact that a few weeks ago I had a conversation with a few coworkers of mine, and they were essentially talking about how the repetition of the past kingdoms, all right? And of course, just to name a few, you had the kingdom of the Persians, all right, the Egyptians, Rome, Greece, and what all these kingdoms have in common is the fact that they fell. And that old age question being, is America going to fall also? When is God going to come back, right? And you have people that genuinely believe that America indeed will stand, and this is going to stand the test of time, which is not so. All right, this is the book of Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It says, the thing that hath been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. All right, and what is that which shall be? What's the thing that hath been? All right, the thing that hath been is what? Speaking upon America, you have empires, kingdoms. All right, America is indeed a nation, a great nation, right? And great as in meaning the volume of it in its accomplishments, all right? According to what Esau, Edom, all right, the top devil, all right, the devil on this current realm, all right. And that thing that hath been is all the things that you see around you: war, all right, pestilence, famine, all right. And what? It's that which shall be, meaning what? Those things that we see around us is going to happen again, all right. And that which is done is that which shall be done. What has been done is what? The rape, robbery, and murder of the things in the past, all right. We see all these things, and the thing is, we read it in textbooks, in the educational system, in schools, and now, even though we still work, it truly is no different. Just because people sit in a calm environment of an office cubicle, right? Or you go to your regular old 9 to 5. You drive your car, you drive to work, you drive back, and the thing is, just because you read about it and how men live their lives in the ancient world, you might think that, wow, this is just completely different. We live in the information age. There's just no way that they're going to send me overseas. They're going to send me overseas to fight a war that I know nothing about, when that's literally that which shall be done. All right. And what it says, that there is no new thing under the sun. All right. And then that is indeed the truth. That is a muth. All right. There is no new thing under the sun. And what do we see? We see America, all right, as being that top nation. And what also inspired me to make this lesson, when I was talking with my conversation, when I was talking with my coworker about this, he pretty much mentioned how he lived his life for pretty much 40 years plus, 41, right? So, and yet he claims that at one point he believed in God too, and how at one point when he was young, he once thought that the earth was going to be destroyed and that America was going to be pretty much taken out, and that quote unquote God and Jesus Christ, right, quote unquote, I hate to say that name, was going to come back, right, in his time. But guess what? Here he is now, 40 years old, and now he's just doing his own thing. All right, and the Lord being far from his mind, just because the Lord doesn't bring him riches and money or women. All right, you see. So, and I remember just thinking about it, not thinking about the Jake in general, and just looking down on him, but it's the fact that when you think about it in history, you have to believe there was Israelites, our people, that was in these other nations and that thought the same way. All right, it's been centuries. All right, even 2,000 years plus. All right, when Yahweh Shai first walked the earth, and even before that, we had centuries of history. All right, and inhabitants of these great nations that once fell, right? That did fall. Excuse me. This is Jeremiah 28:8. Now you gotta ask yourself, what was the mindset of those same inhabitants? All right, this is Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and great and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. All right. So just making an example, let's look at your everyday man that maybe has been living in the Persian army. All right, or not the Persian army, but the nations of what the Persians. All right, and out of all the provinces and the victories that they obtained, you got to think about it. A man that has been living in that time, that has grown old, or maybe it's just a young man, right? He lived within that certain heathen nation, and they've heard of the great kingdoms. The kingdom that he's currently resides in, all right, has received great victories, all right, has achieved great victories, all right, and it's now what he's living in the greatest kingdom of its time, all right, and it wouldn't be wrong in thinking that way. But guess what? He's also gonna think that he's totally safe, and that the kingdom he currently lives in will not fall, and it's gonna stand forever, and it's gonna stand the test of time. Now, fast forward, what you have the the Egyptians. They thought the same way, and they was at one point a great kingdom, all right. They hear about how great, and they actually are seeing their empire flourishing, all right, from a man who's just been born and brought up, all right, within that Egyptian environment. He's not going to think otherwise. He's not going to think, well, the Lord is definitely going to destroy this place. He's not going to think like that. No, he's going to believe in what he sees, and he sees a kingdom that is just continuously flourishing, and it's just never going to, the Lord's never going to touch that place. All right, the everlasting power, the God who made the heavens and the earth, is never going to touch that place. That's what he's going to think. All right, and why is that? Because the Lord, not only did he give them up to a delusion, but all in all, the Lord gave them up to be a part of that empire. And it's the same way now, how you have, liberals, Democrats, Republicans, what have you, all right, that are all here, all right, and they still believe in this once so-called once great nation, like those MAGA hats that President Donald Trump had, right? Make America great again, all right. Of course, Akim, asking yourself, when was America great ever, right? But then again, you had Edomite that had that thought process, and that doesn't exclude the fact that the Lord is still gonna even then, still the power of Israel is still going to touch this place, man. All right? And it's going to be the worst that it's ever going to be since the beginning of time. All right? For this great kingdom. This is Matthew 24:4. It says, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Salakia, 3rd verse. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? You see? And it's funny because the scoffers, they would ask this, but they do it out of pure hatred of the Lord, and just for the sake of scoffing, to be a demon for that moment. But yet they ask the same thing. Well, when is God going to come? They've been saying this for centuries, and indeed they have. But guess what? Over the course of time, you also had these empires that, as I said, they were believed they were going to stand the test of time. But what? They failed utterly. All right? If a kingdom wasn't taken down, it was translated. All right? And it was transitioned to another nation, a.k.a. that nation still being defunct. Excuse me. All right? So that nation didn't stand the test of time.